princess, so prepare for wizardly combat.
I want to show you a trick Mother showed me when you weren't around.
And I'll not laugh or fast that but don't yell it.
Welcome to Spellburn, a podcast covering the Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing game and old-school adventuring. It's time to party like it's 1974.
Release the princess, so prepare for wizardly combat.
I want to show you a trick Mother showed me when you weren't around.
And I'll not laugh or fast that but don't yell it.
Welcome to Spellburn, a podcast covering the Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing game and old-school adventuring. It's time to party like it's 1974.
It's February, and that means Zine Quest. Across the RPG scene, there are lots and lots and lots of zines, including those for DCC RPG. This episode, we are hanging out with 3 third-party zine creators. We'll talk about their projects. We'll read some exciting emails. We'll do some tavern talk. All this and more on this month's Spellburn. I'm Judge Julian, and with me tonight, I have our Spellburn's Judges Judge Jen.
Good evening, everyone.
And Judge James.
What's happening?
And with us, in addition, our special Zine Quest creators, our old friend, returning Spellburn alumnus, Judge Paul Wolf.
Greetings.
And the newbies, Judge Emil Camacho.
Hello, hello.
And Judge John Watson.
Hey, everybody.
And we're going to go straight on into the tavern. All right, here we are in the tavern. And I think I'm just going to pour a nice boozy cocktail out for Jen. Yes, that they do have cocktails on tap. I'm doing one of those. I'm doing a cocktail on tap. Jen, what would you like?
Geez, at this point,
Don't overthink it.
something non-alcoholic.
Uh-oh, okay.
Bad
We're-
sign.
We're pouring you a big Shirley Temple. Do you want to go first? Tell us what's new in Judge Jen land.
Oh, new. I'm actually prepping to leave within the next 24 to 28 hours. I have to leave for Gamma. It's one of the umpteen trade shows that Goodman Games is doing this year. On top of the 50-something convention appearances, we've got a huge new cadre of, is that how we pronounce it? Of con reps throughout the US. And it's shaping up to be pretty insane. Not gonna lie, I'm actually okay with not organizing all the cons again this year. So, yay. But I am still in, I still have my paws all over Gen Con, so keep sending in those events and we will get your badges out as soon as they give them to us.
What about Dungeon Con?
Dungeon Con's a thing. Believe it or not, I don't have a whole lot to do with it other than just, why are you guys in my house?
Right.
Yeah, that's not gonna lie, Julian. That's a little nerve wracking right now because all of this stuff is going on, and I'm like, you're doing what? Where?
I mean,
You have other fish to be frying.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. You're not going to have to see me like a bottle of scotch in one hand, driving a forklift through the warehouse, doing
That's
that
good
stuff.
because it's a dry site.
They were exactly right. So
Yeah.
it'll remain a dry site.
I can tell you there's a minimum of 12 fire extinguishers located around the property, and I start to feel kind of like a flight attendant when I start pointing all of those out. So, what else is in between there? GaryCon. I will be seeing some or most of you over at GaryCon as well, but I will not be running the booth. So it'll be new and interesting times.
What will you do with yourself?
I actually got into a couple of games at the
What?
Dark Master's suggestion, and yeah, I'm actually taking PTO for part of it, so
Oh,
I'm kind of stoked.
nice.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Well, good for you.
Yeah, actually get to go to a con with my hubby again, and it'll be nice and okay. Next.
How about Judge James? What are you having?
Give me a nice Gygaxian small beer. I don't know. Yeah.
Something light.
Yes.
Time to think about
very
that
good.
one.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll call that Drummidge's Brown Ale.
Ooh, is it brown ale? Is it a small? I don't know. I feel like it's a table beer. Maybe not. Gonna have to someone has to do some Dungeon Master spelunking, find out what he means by all those beers. Okay, so it's a lovely beer. Thank you, Julian.
You're welcome.
Um, let's see. I managed to pull together a playtest for Brendan LaSalle. He wanted to get a playtest of. It's either going to be called A Study in Ash Dawn or the Ash Dawn Incursion, but it's a second level adventure for Netcrawl. So I got Brendan to get his first playtest in on the Netcrawl Discord, and it went swimmingly. It's a really cool adventure. It's a tower you know go up the tower kind of adventure. So it's cool. We had a good time. A couple people I've never met before that are on the server, and so it was really nice. And then in other news, I'm trying to do this March Madness thing, and I've promised. We've got like about maybe 20 responses, which for a community of supposedly thousands, that only 20 people can be effed enough to get up off their butts and put some suggestions in for some third-party materials that they like that we can put into, a March Madness grid and what do they call those? Brackets. That's what they call. I love sports ball, man.
Sports ball.
Give me some
sports ball.
I love me some hand egg. Anyway, so we'll put them all into brackets, and then we'll make people vote on them, and then one product will reign supreme. One third-party product will reign supreme. We'll have, I think, a link hopefully on the page to the forum. But starting like March 1st, I guess I got to have brackets out, and you guys can, put them all in there, and we'll have votes on, I guess, Facebook. I have no idea. Where should we do the voting?
TBD.
Maybe the fan Discord? I don't know.
Maybe. What about Goodman Games website, for God's sakes?
Oh my God.
No.
That too much?
No. Those people have jobs, James.
You don't think don't have a job? What the heck? I'm making some brackets here?
No, I mean they have other right, and you have a job too. And
is now a good time to point out that the people on our screen have a lot of products that might end up in our bracket?
Exactly right.
Indeed.
Third party products. So it doesn't matter what you put in the boxes. If you go to the suggestion, like to help us pick the products, you could just fill it up with 12 things of Nowhere City Nights. I know Julian did.
That sounds like an excellent idea. I think we should mention that we may have like a Paul Wolf bracket just for himself,
That's
right? Because
right.
he's got quite a few things out there.
He
So
does indeed.
you might
Curse
be
of
able to do that.
Cragbridge, baby.
That's right.
Anyway, sometime in March, I guess we'll do it on Facebook. Maybe I'll put like links everywhere, and you'll have to vote on, each, the West versus the East, or versus hockey versus basketball brackets, and then it'll be great. You'll love
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I think you just get an API layer over like a data lake to do this,
Oh,
and
now
then we
you're
can just,
talking.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, well, I'm gonna definitely pour myself some kind. I think I'm just feeling like an Irish red ale for tonight, so that's
Mellow.
what I'm going with. And we had a great Con of the North last weekend. Last one at the Crown Plaza outside Minneapolis and Plymouth, and great time. I ran 3 old adventures, which was pretty interesting to run stuff that you wrote like 7, 8 years ago. That was pretty illuminating for my old self and new self, and had good time with that. Also played in some games with Judge Darren Campbell here, and that was fun. Last night I got to play in a game run by my friend Judge Andre for a DCC version of Isle of Dread with a couple newbies that he picked up at the convention, and he did his own little kind of short adventure that was kind of set sandbox wise in the Isle of Dread. That was actually tremendous fun. I played a lawful cleric really well, and
Whoa, you?
nobody will be surprised that I. So then I tried to invoke divine aid, and the last scene rolled a natural 1 and converted to chaos. So
That's the Julian we know.
yes, but it didn't have to work out that way. It's just the dice were telling me that, I guess. Of course, we're getting ready for GaryCon, and I'm running 4 games. So we're having a lot of fun there. I am going to do some signing stuff at the Goodman booth Thursday 10 to 11 at GaryCon and Sunday noon to 1 at GaryCon. So if people want to come over and hang out, I'll be like watching the people behind the booth work. Ha ha ha. And anyway. So it'll be fun. And that's that. The only other thing I just wanted to mention, I was completely flummoxed and blown away by this thing that Harley linked on Facebook or Blue Sky or somewhere. Julio's RPG Cove. And I looked at this for 10 minutes yesterday. My mind was completely blown. There's pre-gen generators, there's like 50 judge tools, there's just a billion things in this thing. It's huge.
That was put together when G Plus exploded. That's been around forever.
No, I know, but
I've never seen it.
It's been steadily growing, and it doesn't seem to get a lot of press or whatever. But you could spend a day just going through this thing. So obviously we'll link it in the show notes. But Julio, wow! If you're listening to us, wow, nice job, and keep up the good work. And anyway, we'll hopefully send some traffic over there because it's amazing. So that's it for me. Judge John, what are you having?
So I've brought my own. I'm gonna have some long con rot gut here.
Nice.
Yep, delicious. So no offense, Eddie and Matt, if you're watching, hopefully you are. But I've got my own different convention coming up. I was invited by Lou, as I'm sure many of you know him, to attend CincyCon. I think I'm pronouncing that right, just outside of Cincinnati, Ohio. So I'm going to join Lou there and run some Dungeon Dwelling Creatures, which is a DCC compatible game where you play the monsters instead of the adventurers. So running a couple of play tests of that. One written by Stefan Surratt called The Death of the Dark Lord, which is kind of a legally distinct enough Lord of the Rings kind of rip off in some ways, but you're playing from the monster's perspective after Saruman's almost dead, or well, the Dark Lord, Evil Lord, I can't remember his name. So but yeah, looking forward to doing that. And showing people it's not just a reskin of, like the warrior, the thief, the rogue, or the all those classes out of DCC, but they're their own unique monster classes. None of them are just classes, but like a dwarf or an elf. You have a Dybbuk or a fiend or goblins, a hag, orc, a toag, which is kind of a legally distinct mind flayer because we didn't want to do that. But yeah, looking forward to running that and showing everybody, and we'll start that Kickstarter in Q2 is what we're looking at.
I don't know. I think I want to
Nice.
play as a Skyline 5-way monster.
Five-way monster.
You're
Hey,
in
I'll see what I can do,
Cincinnati. You
James.
better go to Skyline and have a 5-way.
Thank
It's
you.
gonna blow your mind.
Okay, yeah, I've never. I was
Yeah.
kind of lost there, but I will make a note, James, just for you,
Skyline
brother.
Chili. Make them take
Yeah.
you there.
Okay.
I
yeah,
might
yeah.
have
Oh yeah.
You'll regret
Yeah.
it.
I might have to do that. I've always wanted to, and plus, since he is has awesome gamers in it, right?
Yeah.
Judge
Mhm.
Jim, Rick
Yeah.
Hull, Todd Bunn, and a billion other guys. That's an awesome scene. Is Lou from there as well?
No, he's
No,
in
yeah, he lives in
India.
he's in India
Indiana.
somewhere. Yeah, I can't remember
Lafayette?
exactly where. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
But he's driving down, picking me up from the airport because I'm in Texas, and yeah, we're gonna head out there. Yeah, he's spoken very highly of it. I'm really excited to go and yeah, have some fun.
When is that one?
It's this coming weekend,
Yeah.
so this Friday through Sunday.
Yeah, I went last year. It's pretty good.
And John, you do long con, right?
Oh yeah, I do.
Okay,
Every
okay,
year.
that's where I know you from.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
about to say, Paul, I recognize you. I was trying to piece
Yeah,
it together, so yeah, I do long con. I've gone actually every single year since the first one.
Nice.
Very good. Thank you, John. How about Judge Emil? What have you been up to? What are you drinking?
Unmute.
Oh, we got you on mute.
Gonna
Shot of Fernet and a gin Ricky. How about that?
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Classing the
nice.
joint up a little bit here. Very nice.
Well, this weekend I was at RecCon here in North Carolina. It's a small convention, but I helped set up the organized play. So it was a mix of 5e and DCC. I ran and Weird Frontiers. So I ran my adventure, and
Nice.
our local Gong Farmers local chapter 12 Iyun. We had our first gathering ever. We're very spread out.
Hmm.
Some of us are in Virginia, some of us are in the in the western area of North Carolina, and I'm kind of towards the middle. So yeah, it was a good time, and just like everybody else so far, I'm revving up for more cons. I'm the conventions manager for a new studio called Orthane Productions. So I feel your pain, Jen, where we're doing, I think, like 16 different conventions this year. So we're headed to ScarabCon in South Carolina, GaryCon, of course. We're gonna do Gen Con. We're gonna do Atomic Con in South Carolina, RavenCon in Virginia, MomoCon in Atlanta, and I think DCC is
Jeez.
also Goodman Games is going to MomoCon.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
there's
a lot of running around.
there. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's pretty intense. And sorry, ScarabCon is where?
In South Carolina.
Hmm.
I believe
Got it.
Charleston, I believe.
Okay.
Let me see. I don't have it off hand. Then it's
Yeah.
somewhere
Cool.
in South Carolina.
Awesome. Best of luck.
Thank
We
you.
should get together at GaryCon or
Okay,
something.
got it.
Yeah, for
Share
sure,
some trade secrets.
for sure.
Yeah. Share a drink, but I guess she's NA right now, so Okay.
Ginger beer.
Very nice. Judge Paul, what do you got?
Volunteer-
What are you drinking? What are you drinking?
Pretty much gin and tonics are my thing right now, so maybe a gin and tonic.
Classic.
But yeah, I mean, there's the only
Fair
con we
enough.
really go to, the only big con we go to now is North Texas.
What
I
do you
think.
got going on?
You guys hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, North Texas is probably the biggest con we go to these days. So I got a little con here in town that one of my friends runs in April. We're gonna game at, and then we just went to the North Texas guys did a game day last month up in Dallas. So we
Well,
went to
I had just seen you there then, Paul. I was because I'm in
That's
Dallas.
what I.
So
That's
okay,
what I thought. Yeah. I thought I saw you there.
yeah.
There wasn't any DCC up there, I don't think, but we played a few games. We had a good time.
And why not, Paul?
Yeah, it's a good question. I
It,
don't know.
it was not just to defend the Gary and Mike. It was like unorganized. It was just more of, hey, set up and play what you want. I think there was some
Yeah.
DCC, but it was
Was
just
there?
hard to.
Okay.
Yeah, because I
Oh
remember
no, there was
somebody
actually a
running
big.
something.
There was actually a big weird Frontiers game, right? Or a big.
Yeah.
What is it? Yeah,
I think
that's
it was
right.
Weird Frontiers. Yeah, because I remember
Yeah.
seeing somebody running something DCC compatible. So
That's right. But yeah, and then yeah, just other than that, just working on a lot of writing. So me and David have
wow.
another patron book coming out. And
Wow.
Volume 3.
Volume
Yeah.
3. Is there a
Yeah,
theme for this
he's doing the
one?
art for it right now. I don't remember if there's a theme. Yeah, I don't know. He's running it. All I did was write. I was just a hired gun for that one. So
So are we saying this is like volume 3 of Angels, Demons, and Beings Between?
Yeah, it's
Correct.
already been announced on.
yeah, he
Becker-
dropped it.
Becker
He
Kit.
dropped it on DC. Yeah, he dropped it on the group in Facebook.
Okay.
He's just working on the
Well,
art right
okay.
now. So
I'm coming from a perspective of people watching this on YouTube or listening to this
yeah. Yep.
later.
Gotcha.
Don't know what the hell we're talking about.
Right,
So I'm
right.
just gonna
Yes.
fill in the blanks as the archivist or the historian.
Yeah, I should be better at that, I think.
It's
Sorry. Writing drains your brain.
Exactly.
that first one is really indispensable. I just love that. I use those patrons quite a bit, and they are a lot of fun. The
There's a
Angels.
couple of Daniels that I use even outside of DCC. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good. We'll do a quick crowd burn thing, and then we'll go on into emails. But right here, let's do a quick pause for some crowd burn. I believe coming up, well, also on Zine Quest, I should say, right now. Besides the gentleman we've got in here with us, we've got Yardbirds for WHPA Fairhaven. So that's pretty exciting. Tony Weiss is doing that. And then upcoming, I think we touched on some of these last month, but in March, we've got this Weird Frontier second level adventure, Dark Dwelling on the Prairie. And then coming up later, Dawn of the Dog Wizard, which tentatively said, our notes said tentatively planned to launch late Feb, but I haven't seen that yet. And then also coming in March was Wayward Studios has Half Knoll Retreat and Knoll Surrender, which is the players as the Half Knolls, which sounds pretty fun. And I think there's
it's a great title.
Yeah, right.
So I was just
and
thinking.
You have to kind of see it. Half Knolls, yeah, it was brackets on the half. No, yeah. Anyway, it's but I think a funnel where you play a bunch of Half Knolls sounds pretty rad. So, looking forward to seeing that.
Yep. Isle of the Amazons is Bloat Games zine for Zine Quest. So that's out
right.
there. It's been launched, I think, for a past couple days, maybe a little bit longer. I feel like we didn't update this section, which is probably on me.
Yeah, Judge James.
It's all my fault, of course. Black
I-
Mountain and also The Cult That Never Was. Those are ongoing. It's a pair of It's on BackerKit, I think. They're doing a collab together, two guys, Judge Crow and another gentleman. So that's out there right now. And Stefan Surratt's thing just finished up not too long ago, The Conquest of Chaos. And lastly, The Worm Vault by Trevor Stamper. He's going to put your zines in little cute boxes.
Oh, those look pretty slick, actually.
Yeah, they do look super slick. I think there's one more, maybe. Into the
Who
Dark.
is that?
Trevor Stamper of
Oh yeah, Trevor.
Blind
Okay, yep.
Visionary
Gotcha.
Publications. And then Studio 9 has something out right now too, Into the Dark, an adventure for zero level funnel.
Yeah. I will say I got a little preview of some of the Stefan Serrata, the Conquest of Chaos stuff, and there's so much delicious Pete Mullen art in that.
I had to back that. That
Nice.
was 100%.
Oh man, you've chosen well.
I got the pleasure to play through a play test that he put on YouTube with Dungeon Only Creatures rules, and man, it's great. Such a fun campaign.
Nice.
Very cool. Yeah, that looks super fun. So looking forward to that. Anybody else want to throw some crowd? Is there any? We got a bunch of third party guys. Obviously, we're talking about your three things in a few minutes. Anything else you want to throw out there?
Avon by the Sea by 321 RPG by Hambone.
Yep, John Hambone. That
Hey,
one looks cool.
Yeah,
it's like Jersey Shore,
vampires,
like Lost Boys kind of thing. So
I think the three that I backed are already closed, but you could probably jump in. It's the Twisted Tales, Isle of Ancients, and Mill of the 12 Dead are the three that I backed.
Yeah, Isle of Ancients was earlier in the Zine Quest cycle, right?
And a little meta. There's
no, he's still got 3 days to go.
Oh, he's still got 3 days to go. All right, Isle of Ancients.
And if you want to get a little meta, there's Quest for Zines, which is the
name.
It's who is it? Philip from Steve Jackson Games.
Yeah. It's been a long week already. Your mail's
yeah, I mean, I just got back from a con, so
you talk about
Philip
Fighting
Reed.
Fantasy.
Philip Reed,
Gotcha.
He's doing a quest for zines, which is a zine quest zine about zines. So and I got to be one of the people he interviewed for the zine early on. But he's interviewed a bunch of different luminaries, a lot of I'm a first-time creator, but there were a lot of other like Zach Goins who's done a bunch of different projects. There's been it's fun to see that and to learn, so that was one that stood out to me.
And I've got one, not necessarily a zine, but Matt D'Amico. It hadn't launched just yet, but it should be launching, I think, on March 4th, is what he said. With Mail, I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's DCC and a bunch of other things. Heavily influenced by Dragonlance, but of course his own spin on everything. Sounds really cool. He's even going to do something from the perspective of dungeon dwelling creatures in it as well. But if any of you are fans of Masker Grounds for Weird Frontiers, that was I believe his first thing, but should be great. Yeah. I know that was a great adventure to play through.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, guys. I think it's time for us to head over and do some emails. Let's just give it 5, and we'll see you there. All right, we're reaching in the mailbag, and this first one I've got is addressed to Judge Jen, care of Spellburn. Judge Jen, do you want to do us the honors?
I like mail. Let's see. This one comes to us from Judge Christian. He says, "Hello, Spellburn podcast. I've listened to a few episodes of the podcast and think you guys are awesome." Clearly he's listening to the old episodes, right? I am a new DCC judge and planning on creating my own sandbox campaign to run my players through some DCC adventures and maybe stuff of my own creation. I have a problem though. I don't know how to deal with overland travel in DCC since there are no set rules for moving through hexes or how encumbrance would impact that. Getting crunchy here. The rules I found online are either too vague or feel too restrictive. For example, someone converted the BX D&D travel and encumbrance rules, but to me, those kind of feel very restrictive. And oh, goody, he attached the mention rules.
Right.
Gosh.
Oh yes.
I'm not. No. I'm not.
We'll spare everyone.
I'm not going over that in the podcast.
No.
They're fascinating, but yes, a little crunchy, and I can see how restrictive. But the minute you start talking about encumbrance, yes, restrictive. Sorry, I digress. How would you judges J deal with overland travel and encumbrance in a meaningful way, but also in a DCC way, meaning that it doesn't get too much in the way of gameplay? I'm stoked to hear from you on the podcast or through email. Thanks and have an awesome day, Judge Christian. Judge James, what you thinking?
What? Okay, fine. Way to go. Just pass that off right away. Nothing from her. Nothing from Judge Jen first.
I added my commentary in the middle of the
Okay. Let's see. I mean, like I think hex crawl is a good way to do like a hex per day. Maybe I don't even really care about this stuff. I'm gonna be honest. Like a hex per day or two hex. I don't even know. Like, what's the scale here, right? Like, I think the idea is you're trying to, with overland travel, you're trying to give them stuff to distract them, and a goal, right? That's oh, it's way over there in the mountains, and I'm in the swamps or whatever. So I think just kind of taking some. Who had a really great? Is it? There was a hex.
Thorin.
Was it? There
Thorin
was like
had a Sky of Crimson Flame and Blights of the Eastern Forest. That
yeah.
was a hex crawl.
I'm thinking more of like it was a toolkit. Like it
Oh,
was allowed you to kind of like it gave you like a blank hex map and you could like put the hexes, you could kind of create it yourself.
Oh, and it was like a weird visual thing too, right?
Yeah,
Is
and it
that
was
the
like
one
one
I
of
you-
the
know
early
exactly what
Zine
you're talking about,
quests.
James. Yeah, and I can't
Yeah.
remember what it was.
It's
Yeah.
Ariel, I can't remember his name now. I'm blanking. He's been around for a long time. But he put it out and you could kind of make up your own little hex map. He had stamps or something too.
Well,
Or stickers.
we'll track that down and we'll put it in the notes and I'll try to email that to Judge Christian.
All you're really trying to do, I think, with a hex crawl is pad out, the time between adventures a little bit, and then give them something to kind of mess up their day. So that's what I wouldn't put too much thought into. I could do so many hexes per day on horse. I mean, like, all that stuff is there, right? Go for it. And but like he said, he's like, I'm not really interested in it. What you're trying to do is just kind of distract them and get them, off track.
Hexanomicon is what you were looking for.
Hexanomicon.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah, great. I'll put that in the show notes. I think we even talked about that on a prior episode, but it's been a long time.
What about you, Julian? What do you think he should do?
I think, well, I'm kind of in your camp that I don't care very much, but I have found it useful. When I say I don't care very much, I don't mean that I don't do it or I don't care. What I mean is I don't believe in much in the way of systems. I've done a couple things where we really did care about time and travel because I found that's the only way to stop people from spell burning their butts off nonstop. And
Right.
other things that get annoying and luck burning like crazy all the time. And so it becomes a more balanced game when you track stuff more. And then you're like, oh, you got a 10-week journey through the swamps and you're going to have a 3 strength, a 3 agility, and a 3 stamina. Is that what you want to do? And then maybe the answer is yeah. The answer might still be yes, because sometimes you got to do stuff. But anyway, what we have done in those cases is I've just been like, well, you got a flump, which is a giant ox with a, that can carry this much stuff, and if he's loaded down, maybe you go a little faster. And we just kind of hacked it out based on what the means of travel were at the table. And then we just kind of stuck to that basically throughout the campaign. I would say, try to take decent notes so that you're just consistent, because then your players get less frustrated. But I don't see any reason not to just figure it out with your players. Anyway, it's their game too, so make them do some of the work, and then go from there. But there are going to be elaborate things that have suggestions. There is a known realms hex crawl starter, which doesn't actually have that much stuff in it, but is lists resources for overland travel and other and encumbrance and stuff like that. So that's in the Gong Farmers 2019 almanac, and so there's stuff out there, but I would say just keep the detail minimal and do what works for your table, and that's it. How about Paul, what do you think?
Not Judge John.
Well, we're going to John first. Okay.
Yeah.
It's fine either way.
I was trying to go alphabetically, people.
Oh, now there's rules.
Hey, I'm technically a J as well. Come on now. Well, not technically, I am a J, definitely. But well, funny enough, in the Wanting Wizard, and this is not a shameless plug, I'll save it till later, but there are hex crawl rules that Lu did a really good job of detailing out. Not ridiculously complicated, but we'll go into that later, I know. But I would say, and I kind of gotta agree with both James and Julian that I think keeping it simple is better. But hey, whatever you want to do at your table, even if it's something like, well, have the players come up with a way, how are you going to travel this day? If you're going through the woods, you're going to have like a woodsman kind of character lead the way, and if so, maybe you give him +1 die on the die chain to roll a survival check or whatever it is. But I just keep it simple so it doesn't bog things down. But sometimes that stuff can kind of be fun, and as I can't remember who was talking about earlier, Julian, about his, I think it was before we started, about his cleric where he rolled a 1. Sometimes those make for the best stories, just some of those mishaps too. So have fun with it.
Yamil, what do you guys say?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what's been said before, where Judge Christian should look at a few of the examples that have been named, see what fits best. In the past, what I've done is I've used like the like Warhammer scatter die, the old school one, like just toss that on the map and kind of like if they're lost, use that as the like what determines where they go. But if that's something like that, it's too vague, then it's just kind of the feel of not just the judge but the players as well, to see what kind of interests them. Because if they're happy just kind of like bouncing around from location to location in the hex, then there's no real need for the travel, if that's not what their interest is.
I mean, it's legit to just do a point crawl and
Yeah.
forget. I mean, do your players want that? Sometimes people really dig that detail, and the other tables are like, this got really boring.
Yeah.
So,
Do they like Oregon Trail, or do
right?
They rather
Love it.
Right?
You have dysentery.
Yeah, exactly.
Judge Paul, what do you say?
I think everything everyone said so far is sort of a good starting point, but I think the very first starting point is what you guys mentioned. Make the players want it. So you have to change the incentive before you can make them want to do it, right? So DCC, the incentive is XP for fighting, right, or for encounters. If you change the incentive to, or you expand the incentive to XP for exploration, XP for discoveries, XP for other things, then the players will want to do that, right? So the rules that you overlay on top of that, I think you just start with, you start with the motivation and manipulate, it's a bad word, but manipulate the motivation to where the players actually want to do it, right?
Hmm.
and then build the rules from there. So.
Yeah.
Thank you. 5 words. Queen of the Demon Web Pits.
What?
Our table spent. It's an old AD&D adventure.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It took well over a full night session just to equip for that trip because it was all going to be exploration. We had to make sure we had the proper number of mules or livestock to both use as food and to haul all of our crap. And nobody cared that much.
Wow.
Right.
That's like this
Nobody cared that
simulationist
Yeah.
supreme
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
It was specifically by the book, and oh no, why? I will say that some of the overland travel methods can be fun. I specifically like the tables in DCC Dying Earth for modes of transport.
Mhm.
And they give you some ideas of how fast things move across hexes or miles or whatever you want to do it. But yeah, I'm really thankful for Paul's input here because that motivation is really the key. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Who's actually interested in doing hex crawls, especially during a con game, etc. So yeah.
It's
On
like
game, probably not. Yeah.
it's like that 10 minutes of mountain climbing in a movie. You know, it's like,
Mhm.
did you really, what did you add to the story here? Except for like, it was really boring as we
It
climbed the
could have
mountain.
been a montage.
Right. Right. All right.
I'm with my email, Julian. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Judge. And no, that's a brilliant point. And it's thank you for the Dying Earth reference. I completely
Yeah.
forgot about that. That's a great one. So we've given Judge Christian about 15 things to buy. You're welcome. And Judge James, here's the second email. Go ahead, please.
All right. It's my good friend from Michigan, DM Kojo, all-star, superstar emailer, Corey
So
Gesher.
does he have an email in every single episode?
I think he does. I think that's what I'm gonna just say
Look at his
has
contract.
happened.
Yeah.
He says, "Greeting, burners of spells." That's all of us. Some of my favorite moments in DCC RPG have come when I've taken parties from our fantasy world into an alternate reality. This is especially easy with DCC because the worlds of Mutant Crawl Classics, X Crawl Classics, and Weird Frontiers all use the same basic system. It's become fairly a common practice in my home games to take the party on a side quest to some other reality. This is like Appendix N to the core. I have found that MCC and XCC classes work great in DCC and vice versa. In the past, I've used several adventures to get my players from one reality to another, including Incursion in the Ultra Dimension, Frozen in Time, Shadow Under Devil's Reef. I love that adventure, and Hole in the Sky. I am looking for recommendations of other adventures that you think would work well to send a party, not only to a new location, but to a new game line besides the previous mentioned products. Burn on. Thank you, DM Kojo. Oh, I feel like I'm drawing a blank on other adventures, so I'm gonna pass it to Paul, who is adventure writer supreme, to give us some ideas.
I mean, I think you could probably do it in any adventure, right? You just put a place where
That's
things
probably
happen.
true.
So like as an example, I was running in my own version of Greyhawk, and one of the characters, one of the players insulted a sage that she had, had a relationship with. So she was there to get information and somehow insulted the sage, and the sage just sent her off to another world, like sort of in that Appendix N style of if you offend someone of power like that, they react in a certain way. And so I think you could probably have something like that in any adventure, right? where you do the
Yes.
wrong thing, especially especially in DCC where you're dealing with major magical things, and you have various tables where if you screw it up, you're off to another world, right? So
That's true. Like a patron could be either pleased or
absolutely,
upset, right? And like,
exactly.
boom, you're somewhere else.
Yep.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I guess the appendix in approach, it's pretty common, right? So you
Yeah.
could have it pretty much anywhere.
Judge Emil, what do you think?
So in my head, and this is uh, for the consideration of the burners of spells, I think we could do like start at Dungeon Crawl Classics, and then somebody suggests like this one from Dungeon Crawl Classics to Mutant Crawl Classics, right?
Hmm.
And I was thinking in my head, Star Wound of Abaddon could
Mm.
go
Oh yeah.
I've run Star Wound as Weird Frontiers, like almost without any changes because
Hmm.
of that
Nice.
whole like desert feel. And there's ties in there to Purple Planet. There's ties in there to that you can go, it could be uh post-apocalyptic or something because of the nature of Star Wound. And then there's other ones that could be like there's Umerica ones where there's computers being like in control of things, and that could lead to net crawl. So yeah, like I think it's just a matter of finding that kind of like neutral space appendix, like an appendix and uh dimension door type thing that you were speaking about.
Hmm. Hmm. Judge John, what do you think?
So the first one that immediately comes to mind is actually, funny enough, my favorite DCC adventure, Escape the Purple Planet, because it even says, I think in the beginning of it, like you just kind of wake up in this room or whatever, and it kind of explains how you could have gotten there, which is kind of transportation ways even from our world. And one of my friends, and that's how he ran it at one point, where everybody played themselves, which was kind of trippy, but it was kind of fun too, from what he told me about. And then to everybody's point, you can pretty much do it with under any other adventure. Heck, Portal Under the Stars. There's like, I think
Oh
it's
yeah.
room 6 or so. There's that like portal or whatever, and it goes to another room. That literally the first DCC game I ever read. That's what I did. I had a portal that went to another adventure. And then there's, other things like Eddie Bartlett's Meet Your Maker. I don't know if any of you are familiar with it. It's Weird Frontiers compatible, just finished, where it's a little bit of a different tank, which is really interesting. It's kind of like Westworld-ish, where you're actually in a park, you're zeroth level funnel characters, but you don't realize it. And then you can wake up maybe in Umerica. It could be even a series of other things. He writes it for more America and Weird Frontiers, but it's easy to adapt to other things. Heck, I even wrote a stretch goal for him that dealt with dungeon dwelling creatures as well. So there's that. But yeah, to everybody's point, you can pretty much do it with anything. Like you said, James, it could be, you lose favor from a god or a patron or whatever, and they maybe punish you or reward you. Depends on where you go.
What about you, Judge Julian? Did you already
You know,
go?
I'm gonna say, well, the first thing that popped into my head was sailors because you come
Yes.
out of
That's
That's a
the
very good one. Yep.
yeah, and you're shot out onto the starless sea in a raft or whatever, and floating detritus and blah blah blah, and you could wash up absolutely anywhere with phlogiston flying all over from the step pyramid and all that jazz. So that would be
And
a really easy one to just have you land anywhere.
return to the Starless Sea too. It's also like
Yeah.
extraplanar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
don't know
was
that as
Mark
well.
Mark Brunner. Mark Brunner sent us off to Crawl Jammer from the end of Sailors and
That's
Ooh,
awesome.
Yeah.
So
oh,
we had our Viking ship in the in the Floodstone or
Nice.
whatever.
When in
I d-
doubt, just insert a wizard van.
I
That's right.
do.
Ah, there you
Love
go.
it.
I also have a first level adventure called Expedition to Algol, which is in one of those free RPG Day things a
Yeah.
long time ago. And that one has, if you get to the end of it, there's a certain device in there that that even says at the end, you could get, if you master this thing, you could end up, in Weird Frontiers or Mutant, Terra AD or Umerica or whatever. So that
So this
that's
is slightly related. So the Jason Schultz's adventure, what the hell's it called?
Unfathomable? Operation
Yeah,
Unfathomable?
Unfathomable. So in it, yeah,
Mhm.
when we played that for real, like in real life, we had a what was called a planescape, which was like this vehicle, and it had the appendix in drive. And so you put it into a certain gear and you would go to that appendix in world.
That's hilarious.
So, Elric's world, Lord of the Rings. So we went to, Middle Earth and um, we were supposed to get the Ring of Fire from Gandalf. And I guess, the Middle Earth is so low powered, our wizard just polymorphed him into a turtle and he was in our terrarium in our planescape. And we took the Ring of Fire. But what was interesting about that is he actually, when you went to that world, we converted to that game system. So like we played Stormbringer when we were in Elric, and we played, each one of the game
Wow.
systems,
Oh,
each one of the
nice.
worlds. That was really
Wow.
cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. All right.
Any quick hits, Jen, or?
Oh, you guys gave me time to refresh my memory a little bit. To Paul's point, get the PDF of Through Ningobble's Cave.
Oh yeah,
Lankmar,
Lankmar,
Ah,
100%.
World Bubbles, however you need
Oh
to.
yeah.
I also am a really big fan of Shadow of the Beakmen, especially it's
Oh, I love that adventure.
number one, especially since the whole village has a positively prisoner vibe to it. And if any of you are familiar with the show, he ends up there not knowing how he got there. And rover-like things are out there, so yeah, they could. Who knows? The 13th Skull. Julian, keep typing.
May- we,
There
we,
is
we
a
might
particular book.
we might want to get to Mighty Deeds here.
See, I'm getting close. The
Okay.
airship from Grimtooth Strapsylvania can drop you wherever you need to go. The Demon Key, which is from Empire of the East, gives you a completely different setting, and the key itself can take you wherever you need it to go. Or the not pond, but the kind of the little lake inside the cavern. Who knows? Maybe it connects to sailors. Finally, the 2018 Gen Con tournament. It's in the 2019 yearbook. Riders on the Phlogiston. You get transported to Shutter Mountains, Purple Planet, and MCC, I believe. Or Shutter Mountains, Lankmar? Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a few years. It's been a pandemic. Sorry.
Wow.
But you get three settings in one long adventure or tournament. If you want.
I'll throw lastly onto this. Anywhere where there's Fae is an excellent opportunity to like break reality and go somewhere else. So Stars into the Darkness, even Feyhard, which you kind of go somewhere, which is one of mine. But anywhere like that is going to be the son, the queen, the son of the what's the one? Elfland's the queen.
Elf Queen's son.
Queen of Elfland's son.
The Queen of Elfland's son is alternate reality. So like you have all these places. Anywhere where the Fae is, 100% take them somewhere else. All right, should we?
One last one, because I'll get in trouble if I don't say it. So last year and this year too, I'm one of the lead admins for Gong Farmer's Almanac. And in the Gong Farmer's Almanac for 2024, there was Quantum Crawl Classics. So that a lot of those kind of devices of portals and getting transported from world to world, that's all covered in Quantum Crawl Classics by Shiloh. So check it out.
Nice.
So excellent answers. I think we could do more, and you could also just have any patron ride down, or God for your cleric ride down, and just be like, you know what, you need to go over to Weird Frontiers Land and do this thing for me. So thanks, bye, not sorry. And that would be totally pretty much de rigueur for a type of Appendix N story. So I think that's okay. James, You did not read the PS, the postscript on
my
Kojo's
gosh.
letter, though.
All right, I'll read the post script. P.S. What's really funny is that I recently sold a spare copy of MCC to a guy named Chris Thomason. He requested that I send a question to Spellburn, then transcribe the question into the book, and then sign it so that he is the only person with an original DM Kojo email written into the book. Which why didn't we all think of that sooner?
I love it.
He pretty soon he'll have monetized emailing Spellburn, like you know. I mean, he's
Spellburn
way
influencer.
he's way ahead of us, right? He's playing 3D chess. We're doing podcasts.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good job, Kojo. You remain the all-star. We have emails that we will attend to next month, but for now, it's definitely time to slide over and do some mighty deeds. And we're gonna kick it off here with Paul. Judge Paul is returning to us he was last seen on this show, I believe. I think this is the last time, way back in episode 48,
Wow.
which is if the website is right, says it was March 2017, which kind of blows my mind.
Pre-pandemic.
Oh, way
Blows my
pre-pandemic.
mind too. Yeah.
And
That's
I
crazy.
think I think we had audio issues, and your quote from that night was, I ruined Spellburn. But anyway, that's a funny that's a funny. You didn't ruin us, because here we are, like almost 100 episodes later, for better or worse. So
Yeah, we'll see if you survive this time. We'll see.
right. So we're going to talk about your project, Witch Lords of Skull Mountain, and all these things that we're going to talk about. People have, like, somewhere, what is it, 4 days left on Zine Quest, right? So you need to get out and friggin' pour some money on these guys.
That would be awesome. So yeah, Witch Lords of Skull Mountain started as a 5e adventure back during the pandemic for virtual GaryCon. Only 5e adventure I ever developed, and only one I've ever run. But Skull Mountain has always been close to my heart because that's from the original basic set. And so I always wanted to do something with Skull Mountain. So anyway, so this is the speaking of hex crawls, this is the hex crawl around that. So the sandbox around Skull Mountain and trying to get to Skull Mountain. So, but overall, it's a book that has canned adventures in it that can be used in other, any way you want to, right? You can take those and use them anywhere. But other than that, it's just a fully developed setting that I want to work through 6 issues and eventually get to Skull Mountain.
So in this first issue, there's an adventure or multiple adventures?
There are 9 site-based adventures in this issue. They're short. They're like 3 or 4 pages long.
How big is this zine, Paul?
It says 40 pages.
60 pages.
Oh.
So yeah, it got out to 60 pages. Sorry, it's 8. It's 8 adventures. Sorry. But they're quite short. I mean, it's a 10 rooms at a site, 10 encounter possibilities within a site. Encounter tables for as you move through the space, and discoveries, and all of those things I was talking about, where you have to set the incentives for those characters to actually want to go out into the wilderness, right? There's the overarching idea that this sorceress has died, this powerful sorceress has died, and Skull Mountain's sitting there just waiting for them to find these powerful artifacts. But I mean, it's it could be months and months for them to get there. So yeah, that's what it's about. And
very cool. How many days left in the campaign?
Should be done on the 28th. So whatever
on
that
the end
is.
of the month. And where are you at funding wise, and what's the next stretch goal?
So we wanted, 2000 was the first break point or the funding point, and we're at 4,700. 5,000 is the next stretch goal. I had wanted to do a detached cover like the old AD&D adventures,
Yeah.
because I wanted to
Yeah.
do
Nice.
I wanted to do the hex map all across the inside of the cover. I think it's
Hmm.
probably going to end up being prohibitively expensive for me to do that, but I can do a poster that's basically the size of the cover. And so I think I'm going to end up doing that if we can get to 5,000. So we're running about. It looks like we might make it. Um, so yeah, we'll see.
Very cool. Now, do you have rules for overland travel? Is what we really want to know.
Oh
Yep,
yeah,
yep, definitely.
there you go, Judge Christian.
Mhm.
Very good.
And I'm on the simple side of that, so I don't think you should have to account for every torch and every sling bullet and
Is
all that.
is there any you've played plenty of games, Paul? So is a hex crawl different for DCC than it is for OSC or basic or something? And I'm not coming to you with knowing the answer or having something in my head. I'm just
Right, right.
do you think it's different for DCC?
I don't think so. I mean, I from the very beginning when I first picked up the book, um, I ran my home game has always been a sandbox type game, and it's I think you hand wave a little more than you would with BX, um, but I think it's the same. Like I said, if you have the incentives set up properly, um, and then you overlay that with some rules, right, to sort of keep things on the rails,
Yeah.
then I think it just works, right? I think DCC is best. Personally, I think it's best when it's episodic. But I love a persistent campaign, so I try to run a persistent campaign in any of the game systems I run. So
Very
that's what I
nice.
say.
Sounds good. What do you want to share anything else on the project with us, Paul?
I don't think so. That's it.
Judge Emil, you're up. When the sky comes for you.
The
Uh,
sky comes looking for you
oh,
is
when the sky
actually
comes
the
looking for
name. Yeah.
you. Right.
I didn't
Is
catch that
is
in
this
the show notes either.
is this
Um,
I think you said this is a Motorhead song.
it is a Motorhead song. Yeah.
Ah.
I have a Motorhead tattoo on my leg. I have Lemmy's like over there, looking over, next to my DCC stuff. But when the sky comes looking for you is Weird Frontiers. It's DCC. You can do MCC because there are mutants. It's mutants, a luchador, loan shark, um, cowboys and Cthulhu. Like what else? Oh, and it's all in an airship, and each gondola of the airship is a dungeon on itself. Like
Ah.
you're traveling, your PCs would, they can start anywhere in the airship, right? Because they're when they're taken there, they can choose where they can get dropped off. Um, and it's meant for them to explore, and there's wandering bosses, not monsters. um, so they're a little bit more beefy, and you kind of decide as a group if you want to tackle that. And it was a lot of fun to write. I had Gilbert Isla, who also did Conquest, uh, um, helping me out with editing, and he's been awesome. I have um, Bradley McDevitt, who did two pieces of art for it. Um, People from Shadow Dark. Oh, Christopher Torres that also did Weird Frontiers. He did Cesar Judas, the Lone Shark Luchador. He did a portrait of him, and it's awesome. I have the original right above my computer here in my office. Um, yeah, and it's a lot of fun. I'm actually doing uh, Paul, what you were mentioning of having the old school, um, the cover actually comes off, and one side is the map, and then the other side is a couple helpful tables for the the judge. And
It's really awesome.
yeah, I'm really excited for it. It's my first uh like zine that I've done from front to back. Um, and it's been a learning process, but it's turning out awesome. I've gotten a lot of good advice from the play testers, from Dave Beatty from Weird Frontiers, um, and yeah, I can't wait to see people play. I can't wait to run it. Um, right now we have 12 days to go in the Kickstarter itself, and we've already surpassed the goal. We've almost doubled it, which would be amazing if we do. Um,
Nice.
and there's still some goodies. I had some hexes and boons, as you know, in Weird Frontiers, there's the hexes and boons. So I made some custom ones, and they're nice in clay, and they're themed for the adventure. And those are limited, but if you go all in, you get that plus two system neutral pamphlet adventures that I had written previously. Um, and they also work really well with DCC. That's how I run them, personally at different cons and in my home games.
Nice.
Very nice. So you're saying the hexes and boots are those like the poker chip type things?
Yeah, they're
Ah.
they're so instead of like I think I called it kind of like advantage in 5e where they affect luck. They give you can spend them for you can spend a boon for a reroll, or in Weird Frontiers there's guns, and there's a gun deck that
Huh.
uh, that you can use a boon to reshuffle if you are having issues with your gun. And meanwhile the hex they affect the they affect the dice chain. So the more hexes you have, the lower in the dice chain you would roll. Um, so it's a pretty neat concept. That's one of the things that stands out to me for Weird Frontiers.
So it sounds like this is something you could do with MCC or America or something like, because you got airships, you got
Yep.
wandering bosses and stuff like that. Do you think you could adapt it pretty easily?
Super easy. The anywhere where you can fit a mad scientist, maybe it is a mad wizard. The I call them mutants, but they're mutants, they're devils, they're demons, they're old ones, deep ones. You can, mix and match as you need. So it doesn't take um, a lot of effort to change because of it. I think it's because of it being so isolated up in an airship that it kind of lends itself to a bunch of different things as opposed to like relying on like a Western trope. Um, but
Cool.
it's still like steampunkish a little bit, but
All right.
yeah,
Yeah, I love it. Well, no, it sounds very good. And it's going to Kickstarter tells me it's running to March 9th. Is that right?
that's right.
So plenty of time to
Brilliant.
get in there.
All right. Emil, anything else you want to share on this guy?
Um, also after GaryCon, I'm part of, like I said, Orthane Productions. We're working on a um 5e compatible ancient Egypt inspired setting. So look out for that. It's called Keshnar, Kingdom of Keshnar, and the website is keshnar.com. We have an Egyptologist on staff because we want to be as accurate
Wow.
and respectful. And the whole city setting was built on the Unreal Engine, and that's going to be part of the Kickstarter as well,
Huh.
meant to help
Cool.
GMs or DMs, in that case, um, you know, look around the world, use screenshots as a map.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a really awesome project. I've learned a lot about ancient Egypt. So if you need me for your trivia team for Egypt, just let me know.
We'll be in touch. We'll be in
Be
touch.
writing that down.
Would you like to phone a friend?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Love it. All right. Thanks, Emil.
Thank you.
Judge John, what do you got for us?
Well,
We
got
got
the
the Wanting Wizard.
Yes, sir. That's right. Unfortunately, the Kickstarter has already completed, but if you're still interested after I talk about it and getting it, just reach out and we'll see what we can do for you to take care of you. But the Wanting Wizard is a well, similar to it sounds like what Paul kind of has in some ways, but a hex crawl where there's a lot of different terrains, but hence the name, the Wanting Wizard. She tasks adventurers with going off on a quest for to typically retrieve an object. There's even one of them that's a corpse, things like that for her. And there's a variety of different terrains. There's the woodlands. There's a graveyard as well, like this massive graveyard. And then there's also mountains. And we even detail the town that's kind of surrounded the wizard's tower. Some brief details on that, and even with some potential adventure hooks there as well. Each terrain type also has a short adventure with it. Like the one I wrote for the mountains, it's called the Earl's Bones, where you're sent to go into an ancient old keep and recover the bones of an earl. Party doesn't know before they go in, but it's actually cursed, and then they have to deal with that curse and everything as they venture further into there. It's made by the Ink Slingers, me, Luau Lu, Eddie Bartlett, Matt Gullett, and Stefan Surratt. We decided to get together and work on some projects together, and this was our jump start to kind of fund everything. We had some different ideas we're going to do down the road, but those might have gotten pushed off for some stuff that Joe has us considering right now to work on as a third-party publisher.
Interesting.
Can't say more about it right now, though. But yeah.
Yeah.
Is this your second published work under this this company or whatever?
So
how many have you done?
Yeah, so for my personal company, Rugby Melee Games, technically yes, we let me run the Kickstarter, but this is under the Ink Slingers, which is a collaboration of the five of us, technically four, because Eddie and Matt both are part of Long Con Press. But yeah, second independently.
Nice.
Very good.
Well, congratulations, John.
Well, thank you, Jen.
And to Yamil and Paul, best of luck on that one. Hopefully the good old Spellburn bump will do its thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, obviously we've got these guys linked in the show notes, and I'll throw out there, where you can follow up with them if they prefer the Blue Sky, the Facebook, the email, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll cover that as well. A huge thanks, Judge John, Judge Emil, Judge Paul, for being here with us and giving us some time and some overview of the projects. It looks really good. Join us next month for something not unlike March Madness.
It'll be madness.
It's madness. We've got emails. We've got madness. We've got voting. We've got brackets. We've got envelopes with winners. Who the heck knows what this is going to look like, but it's going to be fun. So check it out. We do have just a quick update on the site. Things have been pretty quiet. Thanks to Jeff Goad, of all people, for letting us know that we had one episode hiccup, which is now fixed thanks to our patron AI Judge Jim, who is always right on the ball. We super, of course, appreciate his help. But if you do see any hiccups further, let me know right away at spellburnband@gmail.com. And of course, keep the emails coming in and we'll attend to those as quick as we can. That's pretty much it for me and for the team here. So all I have to say from there is game on.